He once dominated the billionaire rankings, but something unusual has happened to Bill Gates this year. A silent shift, one that has left millions asking the same question. How did the world's most iconic billionaire quietly step out of the top 10? For decades, Bill Gates wasn't just one of the richest men alive. He defined modern wealth. His name was a permanent fixture at the very top, a symbol of power, innovation, and unmatched global influence. But today, the numbers tell a different story. A story that isn't about losing money or falling behind, but something far more unexpected. Before we uncover what truly happened, we must go back to the boy who discovered a computer at the age of 13, to the young man who left Harvard to chase a dream, to the visionary who built a computer that reshaped the world. Because to understand what changed today, we must first understand the man behind the empire. This is Gold Vision Media, where wealth meets vision. Bill Gates was born on 28th October 1955 in Seattle, Washington. He grew up in a comfortable, intellectual, and competitive family. His father, Bill Gates Sr., was a respected attorney, while his mother, Mary Gates, was a school teacher, businesswoman, and a community leader. From the very start, young Bill showed relentless curiosity. He devoured books and loved solving problems. He also preferred thinking over playing. The age of 13, everything changed. Bill Gates walked into Lakeside School expecting another ordinary day. But what he found inside those walls would redirect the course of his entire life and eventually the future of global technology. Lakeside had just introduced a computer terminal. For most students, it was a curiosity, a machine to glance at, then walked past. But for Bill, this was different. He couldn't just walk away. Something about the logic, the structure, the challenge of making a machine obey human thought pulled him with a force that even he couldn't explain at the time. What began as a spark of curiosity became a daily obsession. Bill spent countless hours in front of that terminal, long after his classmates went home, studying every command, experimenting with every function, breaking things, fixing them again, and learning more from each mistake than any textbook could ever offer. Bill wasn't alone. Alongside him was Paul Allen, another young mind who saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. Together, they explored that computer's potential far beyond what anyone around them imagined teenage boys could do. They pushed boundaries not to impress teachers, not for grades, and not for recognition. They did it because the machine made sense to them. It spoke a language they both understood instinctively, a language the world would only begin to learn decades later. Day after day, hour after hour, Bill and Paul tested programs, rewrote codes, solved problems, and created new ones. And without realizing it, they were training for a future where software will dominate the world. A future they would one day help create. This was not the birth of Microsoft. This was the birth of something deeper. The mindset, the discipline, and the raw vision that would eventually shape one of the most powerful companies in history. In 1973, Bill Gates entered Harvard University, one of the most competitive institutions on earth. But even inside those prestigious classrooms, the place that truly captured his mind wasn't the lecture hall, it was the computer lab. That room became his real home, the place where time disappeared, where he could think, build, test, and push the limits of what early computers could do. And then everything shifted again. One day, Paul Allen walked in with something that could change their lives forever: the Altair 8800. It didn't look like much, just a metal box, switches on the front, lights on the panel. But to Gates, it wasn't a box, it was the future. The moment he saw it, he understood instantly what this machine represented: the beginning of personal computing, a revolution awaiting to happen. And he knew it needed software, real software, software that he and Paul were uniquely prepared to build. Gates didn't leave Harvard because he was unsure. He wasn't walking away from an education. He walked into the company that will define the digital age. In 1975, Microsoft was born. Their mission: a computer on every desk and in every home. Microsoft Windows would dominate the world. By the 1990s, Gates became the richest man alive. In 1994, Bill Gates married Melinda French, a partnership that would transform not only his personal life, but his sense of purpose. Together, they raised 3 children: Jennifer, Rory, and Phoebe. A family built quietly, away from the noise of public spotlight, and centered on values Belinda believed in deeply: empathy, responsibility, and global awareness. And it was Melinda who shifted Gates' perspective in a way nothing else had. He challenged him to look beyond technology, beyond Microsoft, also beyond wealth. She encouraged him to see the world not as a marketplace of products, but as a place where millions lacked basic opportunities that others took for granted. Out of those conversations and that shared belief in using resources for good came one of the most influential philanthropic institutions of our time, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Its mission was clear, bold, and global: improve health, expand education, reduce poverty, and create a world where every person has a chance to thrive. From that moment forward, Gates' vision expanded far beyond computers. With Melinda's influence, he began thinking not just about innovation, but also about impact. By the early 2000s, Bill Gates began stepping back from Microsoft, slowly shifting away from the company that had made him a global icon. His focus turned towards bigger human-centered issues like diseases, clean water, education, climate, poverty, and agriculture. And he approached these challenges with the same intensity as he used to build software. Through his Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, his mission became simple and massive: save lives, expand opportunity, and push the world towards better solutions. But as Gates moved deeper into philanthropy, something else changed too. His priorities shifted, his investment shifted, and naturally, the way the world measures his wealth shifted as well. Which brings us directly to the question everyone asks today: why did Bill Gates fall on the billionaire rankings? Before we continue, if you're finding this breakdown valuable, consider subscribing to Gold Vision Media, because in just a moment, I will reveal the 4 major reasons behind Bill Gates' fall on the billionaire rankings. And trust me, the final reason will completely shift the way you understand global wealth. Stay with me to the very end. First reason as to why he dropped on the billionaire rankings is that Bill Gates did something almost unthinkable for a billionaire. He spent decades giving away his money faster than he earned it. Through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he has donated tens of billions of dollars towards vaccines, global health, clean water, education, and poverty eradication. The reason as to why Bill Gates left the billionaire rankings is that there was a time when Bill Gates owned nearly half of Microsoft. That stake alone could have kept him at the top of Forbes' list for life. But over the years, he sold, donated, or transferred almost all of it. Today, he only owns less than 1%. He stepped out of the driver's seat of one of the most powerful company in history so he could direct his time and resources towards tackling real-world challenges. While other tech founders rode their company's explosive growth, Gates intentionally stepped off the rocket. His ranking dropped not because Microsoft failed, but because he chose to move beyond it. While others invested in fast-moving, high-risk, and high-reward companies, Gates built a portfolio centered on long-term stability through Cascade Investment. Farmlands, railways, hotels, waste management, utilities, and renewable energy. Steady, predictable, and reliable. The kind of wealth that grows quietly and not aggressively. These investments keep Gates secure, but they don't propel him back into the billionaire's stratosphere. He chose stability, and the top 10 is driven by rapid change. The final reason, the one that brings everything together, and also the one that you all have been waiting for. A new era emerged, one built on electric cars, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, social media, and global luxury empires. And with this shift came a new generation of billionaires. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bernard Arnault, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Mark Zuckerberg, and name it all. Their companies didn't just grow, they surged forward at unprecedented speed. Tesla revolutionized transport. Amazon redefined global e-commerce. Google reshaped how the world accesses information. Meta changed human communication. LVMH transformed luxury into a global force. Their fortunes multiplied rapidly, pushed upwards by industries that dominated the modern economy. Meanwhile, Gates made a different choice. He didn't chase their rapid momentum. He wasn't competing with them. And he also wasn't reinvesting aggressively into the fastest growing sector of the decade. So naturally, they passed him. Not because he lost wealth, but because he gained it at a pace the world had never seen before. He didn't fall behind. The world simply moved in a direction he no longer chose to follow. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep, refined insights like this, consider subscribing to Gold Vision Media. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.